Craig, thank you for that wonderful introduction, but most importantly, everybody help me thank Craig once again for his superb leadership this year. As Craig said, good morning and welcome to sunny Florida. I can say that, though, because I'm a native of this state, and I am thrilled to help host this 45th meeting of our Congress here in Orlando. Speaking of 45th, did anyone notice the music playing in the room as you started to come in before we came up on stage? Were you old enough to know that those were the songs that were #1 in the charts in 1971, 45 years ago? Coincidentally, this is not only our 45th Congress, but just down the road, Disney World is celebrating this year its 45th anniversary. As a proud Floridian, I know just a bit about Disney. I will remember when I was a child, one summer vacation, when my family piled in the car, and we visited the theme parks of those days. It was the world of glass-bottom boats and Cypress Garden and water skiing extravaganzas. But we made one stop. We went down a long dirt road, and there was a trailer simply parked in an otherwise empty field. Inside, we were served orange juice, of course. And then we were treated to a very short film made by Walt Disney on his vision of what he hoped to start to build in Orlando. Think about that. I share this memory with you because I see a parallel story in our society. Just as Disney World is a tribute to the philosophy and talents of its founder and dedicated to his organization, so is the Society of Critical Care Medicine, a tribute to our founders who envisioned the need for a multidisciplinary, interprofessional society dedicated to caring for the critically ill and injured and their families. And just as Disney has grown in size and scope beyond what Uncle Walt could have imagined, so have we. He envisioned the Magic Kingdom. But what has evolved has been Epcot, Animal Kingdom, Disney World, water parks, Star Wars Park, and who knows what wonders are next. We began 45 years ago as only a gleam in the eye of a handful of visionary healthcare professionals who were a force for change in how we care for critically ill patients and their families. Critical care then was defined and confined to treating those lying within the four walls of the ICU. Today, we know that our professional abilities and responsibilities lie far beyond our physical units. For example, based upon published data, we know that 25% of ICU patients coming from a hospital bed have avoidable problems. They got sicker because something was missed or just not appreciated. It didn't suddenly happen. It was just suddenly recognized. We can help our colleagues throughout the hospital. The fact is, we have a perspective on the progression to critical illness that can benefit providers on the wards and in the ED. We have the knowledge, the expertise to assist them in lowering ICU admission and readmission, as well as morbidity and mortality. That's why our society is examining ways to support you and to partner with others as we begin to extend our reach beyond our four walls. We've also learned that a patient leaves the ICU, our job is not done. We know from personal experience, current research on PICS, the post-intensive care syndrome, that the impact on families and society can be huge. Many are forced to give up their dreams, and tragically, 1 in 10 may end in bankruptcy. Addressing the challenge of PICS is so vital to the success of our specialty. That's why we developed a special program called the Thrive Initiative. Our patients and families should not only survive, but thrive. Thrive is a 4-pronged program. It fosters solutions through seed funding to help develop local support models. It dedicates funds to advance research in the field. It supports the Thrive Innovator Award, and it supports the ICU Heroes Award. Now, as a specialty, we've come a long way in a relatively short 45 years. What began back then as a force and a focus on triage and treatment of the critically ill has matured into a specialty that now has the tools and knowledge to support the entire critical care spectrum. The initial focus is on predicting and preventing patients from ever having to reach the critically ill stage. This is not a dream anymore, as the time for big data has arrived. In a study published in the last year, a team of Hopkins researchers developed a model called TrueScore, which had the ability to predict sepsis up to 96 hours ahead of clinical recognition. Just think about that for a moment, what the possibilities could be in the future. Such approaches leverage data management and a shift in thinking that effectively creates an interaction between critical care medicine and public health. We, as mentioned with Thrive, have been focused at the phase after ICU discharge, which is built around recovery and refining our care. Now, let me pause a second and repeat myself and summarize what we now envision for the future of critical care. Our future is predicting and preventing, triage and treatment, recovery and refining. The bottom line is this: the society is channeling its energy and its resources to help you find ways to meet the challenges of today's complex healthcare environment. We have a full plate of work facing us in this year ahead, but I know from our track record that we as a society are up to the task. Now, let me focus on a couple of more important things. First, I want to draw attention to the need to address the epidemic of professional burnout. Second, I will want to win the battle of the pronoun. And finally, I'll make a few words about our North Star, the patient. Burnout, PTSD, whatever you recognize it as, it's costing us. It's costing us dedicated, experienced staff. It's cheating our patients of the care they deserve from expert staff. We all know how turnover affects the critical care team, which relies on repetition and familiarity in our daily practice. The pulls, the physical stress, the moral distress. They take a toll that too often leads to valuable members of our team walking away from a career in our field. How do we help? How do we keep them in the fold? That's the dilemma we hope to address through work we are doing with the Critical Care Society's collaborative, the CCSC. We made a great start last year at this Congress. Standing room only session on professional burnout and PTSD, made possible through the efforts of folks like Mark Moss and Ruth Kleinpell. The crowd, the emotion of the room, you had to be there. The long lines at the microphone strengthened our conviction that we must not wait any longer in addressing this need. Our conviction is matched by the fact that this is being considered to be a major strategic focus for the future of the CCSC. The next step in this journey is a paper being submitted for publication. The CCSC is working on toolkits, a research agenda, and the economic case on how loss of staff impacts us all. We must address this incredibly important issue face on. And so I invite each and every one of you, submit proposals to the program committee, submit proposals to strategic planning, submit for grant funding from our vision grants to do research in this domain, and then submit abstracts to Congress to help inform others in the field. Now, let's change to those pesky pronouns. I want a pronoun shift in the minds of you, our members, when we speak about the society. Contrary to the belief on the part of some of you, the future and fate of our society is not in the hands of a small group of individuals who periodically meet at headquarters. It's in all of our hands. Decisions, directives, initiatives don't just come down from the mount on high. They come from us, the individual member working on the job who suddenly has a new idea, a better way, a need unmet, striving to serve the patients and their families. Just as the work of an ICU is a team effort, so is the work of our society. I urge you to step up, become as involved as you can in making us the best professional organization we can be. Now, FCCM has spent the last couple of years reviewing committee and organization structure and made changes that allow volunteers to better understand how and where you can contribute and become more involved. These organizational lines also allow us to act and function in a much more strategic manner on all of our behalf. And already we're seeing positive results of these efforts. Last July, when I went to Chicago to headquarters to fill committee assignments, instead of the usual 100 or so applicants that wanted to be added to the pool, I was greeted with a stack of more than 300 eager volunteers. An embarrassment of riches any incoming president surely welcomes. Furthermore, to support our innovative ideas, we have tripled the amount of funding available through grants. And to make it easier to share your ideas, we've added sessions at Congress where you can meet and greet with the leadership you elected. This year, for those that are technologically inclined, we established the App Challenge. And we're also examining models with an eye toward a better value proposition for each and every member and the teams they work in. Finally, I'm extremely happy to be able to announce that both Critical Care Medicine, the journal, and JAMA are doing some very exciting things with the society. Critical Care Medicine is now in the top 4.5% of over 8,000 journals. It's experiencing a 20% growth in submissions, and it's cut the time to first decision by 50%. Thank you, Tim. As the world becomes even more mobile, you will see that even more content will be moved online. As part of Congress, Critical Care Medicine will simultaneously publish key manuscripts, including guidelines, plenaries, and late breakers tied to sessions at Congress. Now, JAMA will also simultaneously publish with this meeting, including very important late breakers that are also integrated and tied to sessions. But importantly, when JAMA comes out in the next 48 hours, you will notice something new, something that's never happened. The entire issue of JAMA will be dedicated to critical care medicine. This is the first time ever that an entire issue of JAMA has been dedicated to our field, and it shows how critical care has arrived. Now, finally, the North Star, the reason we do what we do. We must ensure that humanism is pervasive in everything we do, as we are not just about the quality of care, but we're about the quality of caring. I'd like to share with you a short poem. It's written by a medical student when she was a medical student, Brittany Jones, from Howard University College of Medicine. She wrote it last year as a senior, and it's entitled, No Words. When I do not have the words, speak to me, tell me who you are. If you cannot hear my voice, listen to my eyes, wait for the whisper of my heart. When my mouth forms no words, still I can hear. When my ears receive no sound, I can see. And when my eyes refract no light, please remember, I am a person. Now, as we move forward, let's not forget the importance of taking care of our teams, including our staff, our critical care community, and our patients and their families. Present today, I'm very lucky and fortunate. I have several members of my team, my family, so to speak. I'm going to ask them to stand and be recognized. Please hold your applause till all have been introduced. First and foremost, my Dorman family. We lost my father 4 years ago, and my mother, who turned 90 on New Year's Eve, was not able to make it today. But I need you to know that I think of them and I thank them daily for the foundation on which I've built my life. My sister, Michelle, my niece, Erin, who's a pediatric nurse, thank you both for being here. The love of my life for 25 wonderful years, Lisa, ILYVMEP, who's a nurse, our daughter Libby, who's a junior at American University, and our son Will, who flew back in from Barcelona, where he is studying towards a master's degree in world history. You've all taught me so much and made me a better person. I love you dearly. To my Hopkins family, represented today in part by Dr. Colleen Cook, Chair of the Department of Anesthesiology and Critical Care Medicine. And well, I'd like all of my Hopkins colleagues to stand. Peter, Adam, Sean, Sandy, Karen, Roy, Dale, and too numerous to name, physicians, nurses, nurse practitioners, pharmacists, respiratory therapists, nutritionists, social workers, ethicists, and trainees. I am so proud of the strong commitment Hopkins has made in supporting the work of critical care. We all help push each other to greater heights each and every day. It's a true honor to work with each and every one of you. To my mentor family, Mike, Brian, I know you're in here, Tim, Pam, Cliff, Craig, he's backstage, Dave Nichols, Roy Ziegelstein. Having such a strong collegial network is what has ensured my continued growth and why I'm actually standing here today. And finally, my FCCM family. Thank you, Tim. And finally, my FCCM family, represented in part today by CEO David Martin, but all of our staff partners are here and are exceptionally skilled individuals who make our dreams and visions come true. And in addition to our staff partners, we have our volunteer leadership. So can you all please stand for just a second? Please, everybody, join me. So that's basically it for me. I want to thank you, and I look forward to working beside you in the coming year as we advance our field from the vision of our founders inside our four walls to a vision of our enhanced role in healthcare. Thank you very much. Enjoy Congress. Country road.